Hello again, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink, and I'm here to share with you today a simple card that hides inside of it a gift card. And I normally struggle with how to send gift cards, and so this layout makes it very simple. So let me show you how. For this, I am going to be using both the Stitched Shapes dies that run through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm using the smallest of the squares. And I'm also using the Warm Hugs stamp set. It also is available as a bundle with coordinating dies that can cut out cute little coffee holders. They're in our mini catalog on between pages 8 and 10. You can buy the whole suite of products, or you can buy piecemeal, what you would like. So let me show you how. So I'm going to be pulling out my Simply Scored scoring tool, and I've got a piece of paper cut 5.5 inches by 11 inches. All these measurements will be on my blog, justalittleink.com. And I put my markers at the places where I'm going to score. So along that 11-inch side, I'm going to score at 4.25 inches. I'm going to flip it because I find it's easier this way. I'm going to score at 5.5 inches. I'm going to flip it back, and I'm going to then score at 6.75 inches. And then I will set my scoring tool out of the way. I use my Simply Scored tool all of the time. So to begin, I'm going to take it along that center score line with the bump up. It helps keep that paper creased out in the right way so you don't get all those little fray edges, which is often the case if you do it against the grain. So I'm going to fold it along at the half mark, which is that 5.5 inch score mark. And then I'm going to fold back because those are where the bumps are. So the other score line, I'm going to turn it and I'm going to score along this score line. So I should end up with what kind of looks like either an M or a W, depending on what direction you are looking at. Then I'm going to use my Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to take a little bit and put it along the edge here. And I'm going to put a little bit along here. And then I can fold it, get those pieces to seal up, give it a little pressure with the glue, and I end up with the centerpiece that I have. And I'm going to use the classic label punch, and I'm going to come in about an inch or so from each end, and I only want it to line up halfway. So I'm going to come here and here halfway, punch it out, do the same thing on this other end, set about an inch, give or take a little bit. And it's okay if it doesn't quite line up in the center, because what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take, to grab it here, I'm going to take the 1.5 inch circle punch, and I'm going to come in the center, and I'm not going to get much. I'm just basically going to nip a little bit of a circle out of the center of it, like so. And that is just enough then. Wiggle it over here. So it's just enough that you can slide your gift card right in this slot. And you can adjust it if it's not quite big enough, but it's large enough for this. So then I have other pieces, one's to go on the inside, and then we of course want to decorate the front. And so for the front, what I'm using is a couple different pieces of the Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper. This piece I've cut at 4 by 5 1/4 inches. So let me roll it along here with my Stampin' Seal. I cut a coordinating piece 1 1/2 inches by 5 1/4 inches. You could use either side. And I'm going to put this about in the middle. Make sure I get it on straight. Whoops, I went ahead. It's how this works, you know, sometimes. Good thing our Stampin' Seal gives us a little bit of wiggle room. I forgot. I have a piece of 6 1/2 inches of our Mossy Meadow 3/8 inch diagonal stripe ribbon. It's in this same suite of products, and I wanted to put it, wrap it around in the center. Okay, and so I do need a little bit of adhesive on the ends to keep that ribbon down. Now we can put it down in the center. You never make mistakes like that, do you? Like so. Now I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to pull out my Stamparatus. With my Stamparatus, I have 3 of those squares. Remember I told you you're going to punch them out of the smallest opening. And I'm going to come up here in the corner. I always try to avoid the very corner because it's difficult to get things to ink up. I've already placed my little cup in there from the Warm Hugs stamp set, and I have made myself a spot with some of our Tuxedo Black Memento ink because these little spots are the easiest with inking up with the Stamparatus. So I'm going to come in, and on each side, then I've got the coordinating, which fills up that cup. I have a real red. One of my cups I want red. So I'm going to come in. It will fill it in perfectly. So I'm going to pull that one out. I'm going to take the second one, line it up in the exact same place. Use my magnet to hold it down. Turn around. I'm going to ink up again with my Tuxedo Black ink. Do a second mug. Turn it around. Now I need to clean because I don't want this one to be red. And I've cut a Simply Chamois in pieces, and I keep it in a baggie that's right handy. So I'm going to then use some Mossy Meadow ink. So I want a couple green cups. Ink it up. Come down. Pull it out, and I want one more of those. So one more time, I'm going to come up in that third corner. Line it in there. Ink up my cup in the black. Come down. Looks like I wiggled a little. Turn around. Because I have the same color, I'm going to do one more Mossy Meadow. Come down and right in the middle there. Okay, I've gotten 3 cups. And you know what? I forgot one thing though. Forgot that I was going to put some steam coming out all of those. So I have a second plate. All of Stamparatuses come with 2 plates. I'm gonna ink up. Put a little of the steam on this one, and I'm going to have to just come back in, which is the nice thing when you know where you're putting it. If you're putting it in the same place every time, it won't matter. So I'm going to come back, give it a little bit of steam so that it looks like it has something inside of there. One more time for the red. Now they're ready. So, one more thing though that I want to stamp. I've got just a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to line it up in that same place. And I'm going to turn my plate over. And here I have the Happy Christmas stamp. I'm going to ink it up in some Mossy Meadow. Like so. Pull it off. And one more thing before I'm done, I've got my quarter sheet of Whisper White. This is for the inside. And I told you that your Stamparatus comes with 2 plates, but you can buy additional plates. And so with a 3rd plate, I have put on the Eat, Drink, and Be Cozy. And I want to ink that up with real red. I'm going to swing it over. And then I've got all of my stamping done, so I can set the Stamparatus out of the way. We're going to come in and finish the front of our card. So what I did is I am going to put some dimensionals on the backs of all of my cups. And I found that it is easiest to line up if I put the green ones on first. I'm just using a couple dimensionals on the back of each of these little cups. If it weren't for the ribbon, I could use just one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the green cups and I'm going to put them on first. So I want to line up and I'm going to come over just a little ways, center, top and bottom, so I have the same amount of reveal on the cardstock. Do the same thing on this other end. Make sure that my distance from the end is about the same. If you're super anal, you can get a ruler out. And then I can split the difference with the center cup. I just found it was easier for me visually to see things by doing it this way. And I've got my center cup, so my front is done. On the inside, we'd stamped this piece. I'm going to take that classic label punch one more time, and I'm going to punch out Happy Christmas from the label punch. Set my scrap paper aside. Put just a little bit of the liquid glue again on the back. You could use your tape runner. And I'm going to put it in the center here, just to decorate on the pop-up a little bit. Then we had stamped our greeting here. I have a 1/2 inch by 5 1/4 inch piece of the same paper that I put on the front, and I'm just going to put a little bit of Stampin' Seal on it, and I'm going to attach it on the bottom just to decorate it up a little bit more. It gives a little bit of color on the front, and it's a little longer, so I'm going to go ahead and just snip off that edge. Then I can put my adhesive on the back side of that. Line it up on the inside, like so. And voila, you have a very festive Christmas card holder, especially suited for people who love coffee, cocoa, or tea. Thanks so much for joining me. If you would subscribe to my channel, I would so appreciate it. And you can post a comment, and I'd be pleased to mail one of these cards to someone whose name I draw. Thanks so much. Happy stamping. I'll see you again this weekend.